Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to do this video say RIP to Charles Robert Jenkins. He passed away on Monday in his home in Sato Island, Japan. Well, right outside of his home, I should say. And when he was a sergeant on the DMZ back in 1965, he was a U.S. Army sergeant. He defected into North Korea, and he regretted his defection. That's what I'm going to get. And when he got back to Japan with his wife, thanks largely in part to Junichiro Koizumi's visit to North Korea, and he basically demanded that the ones who were abducted that are still alive be handed over, and their children. And that got helped get Charles Jenkins home, because his wife, he told me, Japanese wife, he told me Soga was abducted to teach Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies. She was abducted from her hometown in Sato Island, Japan. And Charles Jenkins met her in North Korea, and they married, and they had 2 children together. And one of his children now is a kindergarten teacher in Japan. And Charles Jenkins, by and large, was allowed to follow his wife to Japan. When he first got to Japan, he had to appear in a U.S. Army uniform, and when he was during his court-martial trial, when he wasn't at the trial, he helped process paperwork. And Charles Jenkins, the agreement was he spent about 30 days in jail and then a dishonorable discharge, largely in part because he shared all the information he knew on North Korea, and the U.S. and Japan got a lot of information about North Korea that they may or may not have gotten. And he went on TV regretting his defection. He wrote a book called The Reluctant Communist to clear his conscience. He didn't excuse his defection by any means. And the book, The Reluctant Communist, helped us get a picture of what life was really like in North Korea, and it was hell. He admits that he had a better life than the average North Korean, but he said he still saw enough and was hungry enough, didn't have any hot water, sometimes no running water. He saw enough in his lifetime to, he said, sometimes wish he had never lived. He said that's how much of a hellhole life in North Korea was. And when he got to Japan, him and his wife largely conversed in Korean. His wife didn't speak much English, and he speaks rudimentary Japanese. And how he made a living in Sato Island, Japan, was he would go in these tourist areas or shops that catered to tourists, and people would want to take pictures with him. So a lot of times the stores would just pay him just to be there, because people would want to see and meet Charles Jenkins. He was kind of like a celebrity in Japan because of his situation. The North Korean abductions issue became an issue. So he's kind of like a national hero in Japan. Whether if I agree with that or not, sometimes part of me does, part of me doesn't. That's how the Japanese people feel about that situation, and Japan is our ally. But anyways, hope everyone's doing well. Take care. God bless them. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.